many years, probably as a youngster and everything. So he's a great player on his day, but I'm not sure we see that much of him playing to that level. And I don't know, when you say Barcelona or PSG, maybe they really do want him, but within football itself, it will be known that he's had this big fallout with Manchester United,
Yeah.
and I imagine any club wanting to invest in a player like him for a lot of money with big wages would actually want sort of some clarification of that. I'm sure they do their due diligence.
They do.
So I'm just not sure. I don't think the stuff that goes on around him, as we've mentioned, I'm not sure that would be appealing to those pretty massive sides. So I don't know. I mean, I've not heard any more other than what you said,
Yeah.
but it will be interesting to see what happens. I mean, of course, since we last did this podcast, I think it was last Wednesday was the Champions League final, wasn't it?
I
Was
think it
that
was
last week? It was
I think it was Thursday. Yeah, but
because
the Champions
yeah,
League was Wednesday. Yeah, it
yeah.
was Wednesday. Yeah,
So of course we met on Thursday, so perhaps
we did.
we talked
Yeah,
about that last week. Yeah, yeah, we
yeah,
did.
we
Yeah,
did. Yeah. We did talk about the yeah, and that was the next thing that I had in mind. What's the way forward for Inter Milan? Because there seems to be a lot of speculations that they have an aging problem. So that most of the team members of the team are getting on really.
yeah, yeah.
Now, what seems to be the way forward for them? Are we saying that a team good enough to get to the finals, right, is now past? It's now no longer fit for
Past it.
purpose. Yeah, or past it. To
Well,
then progress.
they are about 30 after all. They really are past it. We talk about football as being past it, and at the age of 30, don't we, or thereabouts, which is ridiculous. But you see, the manager has gone, hasn't he? Whether he was pushed, I don't know. I
Yeah,
suppose after that result last week, he was always going to be pushed, but he's gone of his own volition, so we read. I can't remember where he's gone to. But yeah, I mean, I think it's still Inter Milan. It's still an attractive team on the face of it, as you quite rightly say. They've lost a final of the Champions League. I mean,
yeah,
it's ridiculous that they start to be written off. There's
yeah,
got to be some deep-seated analysis of why did they lose. Well,
of
okay, they
course.
lost. They lost badly. We know that. Probably it was a
Yeah,
record loss as well, wasn't it?
yeah, it
It was
was
about 5-0,
five
was it?
nil. Yeah, it was.
And that's not happened before. But so that's a bit humiliating. But they still are considered, and they are a very good football team. Yeah,
Mm.
and again in the close season, they're going to buy some younger players, I'm sure. But I don't think they've got anything to worry about. They'll get a new manager. Be interesting to see who they do get if they haven't already got one, and I've missed it. But yeah, it's they'll be fine. I mean, I think we've got more than enough of our own teams to worry about without shedding any tears for Inter Milan. They're a very good side. But what a great performance it was from PSG, wasn't it?
It
It's
was, it was,
tremendous.
it was a brilliant performance. Yeah. Now I was just thinking about the transfer windows, because
Yeah,
there seems to be a lot of movement there now. So I think Liverpool has got somebody called Frimpong. Now I don't
yeah.
know, I don't know anything about this guy. And Manchester United seem to have got this player from Wolverhampton. No, not
Mm.
Wolverhampton.
No, I
Uh,
think it
it,
was, wasn't it?
it
I think
was
it was.
Wolves, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It
I think
was
it was.
Wolves, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it
Uh,
was.
yeah, something called Cortina or something. Yeah, I can't remember his name now. But
I can't remember his name. No.
yeah, I can't remember his name. Is Crystal Palace got any more? Do you know what's happening with the transfer
No,
movement?
I've seen nothing. I mean, I know Oliver Glasner made it clear back in January he was a bit disappointed with the late arrival of two or three players,
Right.
because he made it clear before the end of last year, before the end of 24, he felt the club should move for two or three new players early in the window and not leave it, as Palace tend to do, till late on, I suppose in the hope of getting a bit of a bargain, and then sometimes you end up missing out altogether. So far, I'm not aware of any incoming players or potential incoming players. If there are, then I've missed it. The trouble is, as I said earlier, that there's so much fake news going around. I suppose
Yeah.
the football writers, the press, don't have any hard facts to go on. It's still quite early in the transfer system, season that we're in,
Yeah, it is.
transfer window, and therefore they sort of come up with stories. Now, clearly, they're journalists, they're people, have contacts, have sources who can drop a hint here and there. But then you also have the issue that an agent for a player will say something to a journalist
Yeah.
almost to get a story started, which
Yeah.
might then unsettle the player, or if he knows this player wants to move. It's a bit of a merry-go-round of false news much of the time. So I've learned, when I see someone saying, apparently on a website or even in the paper, in the press, oh,
Yeah.
this is being talked about. More often than not, it doesn't happen, and therefore you just have to be a bit cynical that it is reality. But yeah, I don't know. As far as Palace goes, I think much will depend on who they may lose, who we might lose, whether Mark Gay is going to go, whether Eze will go. Adam Walton, I can't see Adam Walton going, though a lot of clubs recognise what a good player he is.
Yeah.
But so if we don't lose those people, because let's face it, coming back to what we were saying earlier, provided they are in Europe and there's nothing nasty going to happen, like being thrown out, where some of these better players might want to go to play in
Yeah.
Europe, the fact is that is actually quite an attractive thing to keep a player at a team, because if they were to win this particular Europa League without getting ahead of ourselves, they would then automatically qualify for the Champions League. Now, that could be a brilliant route for teams like Palace. As Tottenham showed, they actually won after a terrible season, and now they're in the Champions League. So
Yeah.
it's actually quite clever how that is such an incentive. As I say, crossing fingers that Palace don't end up with egg on their face with this, but let's hope they don't, because let's face it, Palace have done nothing wrong. If the team had done things wrong and broken rules, that's one thing, but if the ownership, in the way that it is, has miscalculated this or let someone buy it in who already owns other clubs, then it's not the fans' fault, it's not the players' fault. So anyway, let's hope they stay in Europe. But yeah, much will depend. If we suddenly read that Mark Gay is gone, then I guess they'll want a replacement. Same for Eze as well. I don't think there's many others. I mean, one player who was up in Scotland on loan, Jeffrey Schlupp, he was a good servant of Palace. I was never his greatest fan, but he came on as a sub very often and scored the odd goal.
Yeah.
And he had his heart in it. He was a good Palace player, but he's been offloaded. I think his contract to come to an end, and perhaps one or two others. But it's going to be interesting because I believe Oliver Glasner does feel he wants a couple of players to strengthen the squad and therefore the team. So I think the owners, Parish and Co, would be unwise not to, even if we don't sell too many players or any players, you still need to sort of boost to the team a bit, because we're not strong in depth on some of the positions. So yeah, I hope to be reading fairly soon that, because I think the fixtures come out on or about the 19th of June. Well, I mean, that's only a couple of weeks away, and once that's been done, and I think generally players are called back to start training on the 1st of July at most clubs. That's less than a month away, and already, I mean, at the moment it feels like we've just started this gap. This no Sunday afternoon Sky Sports football, which is always good to watch.
Yeah.
And of course, no going out to places as I do, home and away, to watch Palace. So we have a whole new sort of social diary on the weekends now without the football. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this is all we've got time for. Time flies when you're having fun, they say. It does indeed. You've been watching and listening to the Football Referee with myself, Emmy Hikins, and he calls me Cos.
And me, Trevor Gear, and he calls me Bruv.
Yeah. So join us again next week for another interesting episode of the Football Referee. It's a goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me. See you next week.
See you next week.